You're listening to Make Some Noise podcast, Minisode number 644. Welcome to Make Some Noise podcast, your guide for strategies, tools, and insight to empower yourself. I'm your host, Andrea Owen, global speaker, entrepreneur, life coach since 2007, and author of 3 books that have been translated into 18 languages and are available in 22 countries. Each week, I'll bring you a guest or a lesson that will help you maximize unshakable confidence, master resilience, and make some noise in your life. You ready? Let's go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm so glad that you are here. This is part 2 of how to not take things personally. A couple of weeks ago, I put out a podcast, a minisode. It was episode 640, and it was around taking things personally, but that episode was, what does that look like? Because it can look like a lot of different scenarios. I think if we're going to really understand what these concepts mean in terms of, personal growth, self-help terms, it's helpful to see them from different angles and how they might apply to your life, because we're all unique. We all have nuances. We all have lives that have a lot of crossover and might look similar, but we're all different people. Before we jump in, I just have one quick announcement. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty about it, but it's also an invitation to get on the phone with me. So my retreat opened up, my next Daring Way retreat. It's going to be this coming February in 2025. And I understand it's a big commitment in terms of getting your butt out here to North Carolina. Some of you have to get childcare. Some of you have to take time off of work. I understand that it's an energy thing. It's an energy decision. And so I want you to do a gut check. I want you to make sure that you're making the right decision for you. And so let's connect. I always love to connect with people who are even considering it. This is not a hard sell sales call. I wish I knew how to do those, but alas, I do not. It merely is like, let's jump on the phone, 15, 20 minutes. You tell me what it is that you're looking for. I tell you if the retreat can help you. We get to know each other a little bit. We'll probably, share some laughs. And you get to decide. There's no pressure. And it's not one of those like you have to decide by the end of our phone call. It's not one of those. So AndreaOwen.com/retreat is all of the information, or you can just shoot us an email, support@AndreaOwen.com, and we'll get that phone call booked for you. All right. If you have not listened to part 1 on taking things personally, it is episode 640. Go find it. Go listen to it. Or the link will be in the show notes. You know where to find it. I'm going to dive in to exercises that can help you build resilience and help you from taking things so personally when the triggers pop up. These are simple yet powerful ways to shift your perspective, simple but powerful ways to set boundaries, and just to feel more grounded when stuff comes up and tries to throw you off your game and you start taking things personally. I have about a dozen of these. There's like 10 to 12. So buckle up. All right, let's start with number 1. These are in no particular order. But the first one is really about reframing the story. So I want to sort of have a caveat to all of these. So much of, as I just mentioned, so much of life, being in relationship with people, whether they're your coworkers, your family, your partner, whomever, it's about setting boundaries. It's about understanding what's okay and what's not okay. Sometimes when we take things personally, it's for good reason, because it was personal and somebody was being an asshole and they're trying to be mean to us to get what they want, or they're angry and they're taking things out on us. So I want to say, like, these exercises are not for that. It's not to give someone an excuse and just be like, oh, I shouldn't have taken it personally. It's my fault. Not necessarily. So these exercises are for when you're fairly certain that you maybe need to look at if you're taking it personally or not. Okay? This is not to let you get out of setting boundaries. So the first one is reframing the story. So when you feel hurt or triggered, when you feel like you're taking something personally that might not be needed to take it personally, I invite you to either think about or write down the story that you're telling yourself. For example, if someone interrupts you at work, the story might be, it's an assumption really. They don't respect me. They think they're better than me. So write that down. Write down, what are the assumptions that you're making? What is the belief that you have about the situation? What is the conclusion that you just jumped to? And then try writing or thinking about an alternative story, a different explanation that isn't about you. Maybe they're in a hurry to share their point. Maybe they are neurodivergent and it's just it's a habit that's been created and they don't even realize that they're doing it. Again, to point to my caveat, if this is a partner that chronically does it, it might be something that you want to address. But sometimes by identifying that initial story and reframing it, you can start just noticing when you're doing it and also break the habit of personalizing situations that might not be personal after all. Number 2, another way to work on not taking things so personally is to ask yourself, and this dovetails most excellently off of number 1, but ask yourself, what is the evidence here? So you're kind of like playing detective with your feelings a little bit. Ask yourself, is there enough evidence that this person is trying to offend me? They're doing it on purpose? Or could it possibly be about something else? Could it possibly be that they really are doing the best that they can and not trying to get me fired? Or is it something else? If somebody makes a comment about, I don't know, your lifestyle, you can make a list of facts. You're like a lawyer with your yellow legal pad. What are the facts that can actually prove that it's a personal attack versus their own projection, maybe? Practicing that, again, this is like flexing a muscle. It'll help you see that more often than not, there's really no solid evidence. There's no solid basis for taking things so personally. All right, number 3. I love a good mantra. You guys know I love mantras. So you can develop your own mantra for this and call it like a personal filter mantra or something like that. Not to be confused with like a cigarette filter mantra. I don't know why I just thought of that. My intrusive thoughts are blurting out. Okay, personal filter mantra. So you can create this expression saying, and repeat it to yourself, probably in your head, during moments of self-doubt or when you think that you feel like you have taken something personally. So it could be something like, this isn't mine to carry. This is about them, not me. My emotions end here and there start there. And you like kind of use your hands to like point here and then point there. It's really about, this is about retraining your thoughts and rewiring your brain. I've talked about that in another recent Minisode, by the way. And I just invite you to use it when you feel that familiar feeling, that tension, that stress creeping up. Like after a short reply, someone texted you like the letter K or a thumbs up or something, or a work interruption or whatever it is. Repeating a mantra, creating and repeating a mantra can create a little space, or I like to call it like a pattern interrupter between you and the resulting emotion. So a mantra is a new thought. You know, our thoughts typically create our emotions. So you're interrupting that. And then you get to choose how to respond instead of just reacting. All right. So that was number 3. Number 4, visualize a shield of, you can call it a bubble or a shield of self-worth. This one's a little more woo-woo. So you can picture a bubble or a shield around you that protects you from outside criticisms, judgments, opinions of others. This is so helpful for people who are heavily impacted or have an easier time with imagery, with visual imagery. So you can close your eyes and imagine a shield or a bubble, like the stuff is bouncing off of it. It's deflecting any negativity or criticism, and it leaves only Maybe it leaves only positive feedback and positive energy to reach you. The visualization can be grounding if you want it to be. And it can help you just kind of invites you to live in an environment where you still feel vulnerable, but you also can feel safe. I think this is especially helpful during like holiday family gatherings or when you're on social media. So that's that, visualizing the shield or bubble of self-worth. Number 5, this is one that I do all the time. It's super easy. I probably should have made this the first one. Pause and breathe before responding. Sometimes you need to pause and breathe many beats. So when you feel triggered, immediately taking something personally. This is even like when it really is personal, because I face a lot of those. But when you feel that trigger, give yourself a moment to pause and take a slow breath in, hold it for a second, and then exhale it slowly. You can practice box breathing here. What is it? The 4, 7, 8 breathing, whatever it is. Or just, like I said, take a slow breath in, hold it for a second, and exhale slowly. This has been proven to calm your nervous system. And it also can reduce the impulse that you feel, the knee-jerk reaction to react from that emotional state. And to take it even a step further, on your exhale, you can think something like, and you can remind yourself that you're in control of how to respond. You are in control of how you are going to feel about this. You are in control of your thoughts around this. Things like that. Pausing and breathing can massively help you shift from an emotional reaction to an intentional response. That's what that one is. Okay, we need to take a quick ad break. And when we get back, we have the remaining 7 exercises. We'll be right back.
Are you a parent in need of a laugh and a little escape? Look no further. Parenting is a Joke is the podcast you've been waiting for. Hey, I'm Ophira Eisenberg. I'm a stand-up comic and parent. And each week I chat with one of my top comedian pals who, just like you, are juggling careers, busy lives and schedules, and raising a family. You can expect candid stories, hilarious mishaps that happen on stage and at home, and just a lot of laughs. There's no expert advice here. Well, actually, sometimes a good idea does sneak its way in, but mostly just pure, relatable fun to remind you that we're all in this parenting adventure together. New episodes of Parenting is a Joke drop every Tuesday, so tune in, get ready to laugh, unwind, and maybe even feel a little bit better about your own parenting. Because sometimes that's exactly what your therapist, pediatrician, and bartender ordered. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform.
Feel like you're the martyr in your family? You're not alone. Hey, this is Joanne.
And Bree.
And we're from the No Guilt Mom podcast. Bree, we talk to a lot of moms.
Yeah, we sure do.
And if you're a mom who has a to-do list that is so massive that you get overwhelmed and you shut down,
or if you fall into the habit of doing everything for everyone and don't know how to change it, we can help you become a no-guilt mom.
we're going to take you from family martyr to family model. That's role model, so that you role model the behavior that you want to see out of your kids.
You're going to go from being tired and overwhelmed to energized and guilt-free.
Every week, you'll get actionable strategies that you can implement right away from the experts that we interview and from us.
We also have a whole lot of fun, so check out the No Guilt Mom podcast everywhere you listen to your favorite shows.
Are you overwhelmed by the things that get in the way of you doing what you want to do? Are you looking for ways to simplify life to better align with your values? Do you want to create space in your schedule so you have room for more of the good stuff? Play, joy, relationships, gratitude, and more? If you answered yes to any of these questions, I invite you to check out Edit Your Life, a podcast to help you edit the unnecessary from your life so you have more room to enjoy the awesome. Through episodes with me, Christine Coe, and a range of super smart, compassionate, and thoughtful guests, you'll come away with big picture insights and practical ways to declutter your home, schedule, and mental space without getting bogged down by perfection. I have always believed that small moments and actions matter tremendously. My goal is to help you find agency and space in your life through doable baby steps that will leave you feeling accomplished instead of overwhelmed. Check out Edit Your Life wherever you enjoy your podcasts.
And we're back. All right, number 7. You know that I would not have done this episode if I didn't mention checking on your own negative self-talk. Check on your own inner critic. When you feel a sting from a comment or a conversation, pause and ask yourself, what does my inner critic have to say about this? Chances are it has already spoken up. And that's where during these situations, like, it can hit even harder. So if your inner critic starts to go crazy by saying things about the situation, how they feel about you, whatever it is, you can practice countering it with self-compassion. So self-compassionate responses. So for example, if someone say you get like a really difficult yearly review at work and your inner critic chimes in about it. Maybe you're just not cut out for this. This is going to affect your promotion, blah, blah, blah. You can respond with, I should say, I am a capable leader. I'm always learning. I'm a capable leader who is doing my best. It doesn't have to be a positive affirmation, but just something to counter your negative self-talk. All right. I'm chalking in a lot of exercises here, people. I hope you're taking notes. Number 8, shift to an observer mindset. I almost didn't include this one because I'm like, oh, this one feels very like almost existential, next level. But I feel like might be helpful for some of you. So for example, you can picture yourself as a plant in the room or a fly on the wall or the wallpaper or whatever it is, observing the situation from a completely unattached, neutral perspective. If you were the fly on the wall or the plant in the room, how would you see this interaction? Just like between two strangers that you have no connection to. Sometimes the distance can give you a whole new perspective, helping you see the situation as something happening around you and not to you. Again, this one might be a little woo-woo, spiritual, but I think it might be helpful. Number 9, this might not be for everyone, but it is about affirmations. I personally, my opinion, if you've been around here long enough, you know, I don't think positive affirmations work all on their own, but in conjunction with other exercises, they can be incredibly helpful. That's why I'm including them here. So you can even just make a list of affirmations that reinforce your resilience, that reinforce your humanity, that reinforce your worth. All of those things. They can sound something like as simple as I am enough just as I am, or I trust myself and my choices. I am an exceptional leader. Say them to yourself regularly, especially when you're faced with judgment or criticism. If it's, yearly review time, or if you're working with somebody who tends to be critical, or if that's somebody in your family, self-affirmations can build a strong sense of self. The things that we say to ourselves matter so much. And I was about to go off about that, but I'm not going to. External negativity will start to not be able to shake you as easily when you have practiced and have gotten the hang of more positive self-talk. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right, 3 more. This might be fun. You can role play the scenario. I do this a lot with my clients in terms of difficult conversations or difficult scenarios that they might find themselves in. If it has to do with an action that they're about to take that they've never done before, it's practicing is what it is. So you can recreate the situation with someone that you trust. It could be your coach, it could be your friend, your partner. Have them act out the offending behavior while you practice responding without taking it personally. Because sometimes we can mentally think about all the responses, or you can listen to this episode and you can have it all in your mind, but there is something powerful about practicing saying the words out loud that you want to eventually say. There is something powerful about feeling that vibration coming through your body and out of your throat and out of your mouth. You can experiment with different ways of setting boundaries, of staying calm, or deflecting the negativity, sort of incorporating other exercises that you hear here on this podcast. But it's doing the reps and sets. This is just another one of doing the reps and sets for handling tough situations without internalizing them. Number 11, set a mental boundary by labeling it. So if someone makes a comment that hits you the wrong way, you say to yourself, oh, this is a boundary moment. Or looks like I need to set a boundary. Or maybe it's just the word boundary, like on a red stop sign that you visualize in your mind. By labeling it, you're giving yourself a clear signal that you don't have to take that on. You don't have to adopt it. You don't have to make it personal. And also, it trains your brain to be able to see those right away when they happen, instead of being triggered and then you feel whatever emotions that you don't want to feel about it, and then you behave in ways that you don't want to feel, and then you only realize hours later or days later that that particular scenario was something that you took personally. This is training your brain to be able to see it very quickly by labeling it. Okay, last one. This one is more of a celebration, because I have a hunch that most of you listening have a hard time pausing to reflect on how much you've grown and all of the work that you do, let alone pause and celebrate it. So the last exercise is doing a daily or weekly reflection on wins around this topic, especially if you're someone where taking things personally is chronic for you. So at the end of, maybe it's the end of the workday or the end of the week or whatever, you can write down one moment where you didn't take something personally where normally you would have. I would love for you to reflect on how it felt to respond differently, or not at all. Not respond at all. Think about what tools you used that worked. Think about what tools that you used that didn't work. Think about what you learned. Because celebrating these wins reinforces that you're capable of navigating situations with strength and courage and grace. Celebrating these wins reminds you that you are resilient. Celebrating these wins helps you gain more self-confidence. Please trust me when I tell you, I've never been a big fan of celebrating my wins. We can talk about that another time, but I've seen how helpful it can be in myself and my clients and other people in my community. And that's why I had it on this list to be the very last one. All of these exercises any of them can become tools that you reach for. That's my hope, that these are tools that you reach for when things start to feel personal and get a little panicky about that. And it can help you navigate life's challenges, work challenges, home challenges with more resilience and confidence, like I was just mentioning. Like everything, this takes practice. But each small win, each small shift adds up, and it creates a bigger, more beautiful, stronger foundation where you're in charge of what gets in and what stays out. You're in charge of how you react, and then you're in charge of how you feel, which is ultimately what we all want. All right, everybody. We learned some of these at the Daring Way retreat, by the way. AndreaOwen.com/retreat. Let's get on the phone. Let's talk about it. Thank you so much for being here during this minisode. Remember, it's our life's journey to make ourselves better humans and our life's responsibility to make the world a better place. Bye for now. Hey, did you know there's free secret podcast episodes waiting for you that are not part of my regular podcast feed? Yes, AndreaOwen.com/free. And you just sign up. You get a link sent to you. It's very secret. It's like a secret club. We don't have a secret handshake. Don't worry about that. But it's these motivating podcast episodes that I made for you. They're under 20 minutes each. There's 3 of them. They're for wherever you are in your life. So head on over there and grab them. They range from really supporting you and seeing you where you are and being compassionate, all the way to giving you a giant kick in your ass and telling you how amazing and gorgeous and phenomenal you are. So AndreaOwen.com/free and get your hands on that free podcast feed.
Are you a parent in need of a laugh and a little escape? Look no further. Parenting is a Joke is the podcast you've been waiting for. Hey, I'm Ophira Eisenberg. I'm a stand-up comic and parent. And each week I chat with one of my top comedian pals who, just like you, are juggling careers, busy lives and schedules, and raising a family. You can expect candid stories, hilarious mishaps that happen on stage and at home, and just a lot of laughs. There's no expert advice here. Well, actually, sometimes a good idea does sneak its way in, but mostly just pure, relatable fun to remind you that we're all in this parenting adventure together. New episodes of Parenting is a Joke drop every Tuesday, so tune in, get ready to laugh, unwind, and maybe even feel a little bit better about your own parenting. Because sometimes that's exactly what your therapist, pediatrician, and bartender ordered. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast platform.